Hello everyone. Letter from the Chairman, December 2025. This will be fun. I want to make one thing perfectly clear again. I don't hate Star Citizen. I want Star Citizen to become a fantastic game and a huge success. I just don't have any hope left with Chris and CRG's top management. Reading this letter from the Chairman feels like Chris lives in his own private fantasy world. I won't read everything. Link to this is my first pinned comment below. 2025 became the year of playability for Star Citizen. It was a year when more people played than ever before and spent more time in the verse than at any point in our history. That momentum did not happen by chance. It came from a focused effort to improve quality of life, performance and reliability, and to make the gameplay experience more engaging and rewarding to return to. We started the year with two clear goals as a company: to improve stability and quality of life in Star Citizen while continuing to deliver regular content updates and to push Squadron 42 towards beta and release in 2026. I'm happy to say we've made great progress on both fronts. Okay, let's see. 2025, the year of stability, playability and bug fixing. My honest review. Stability. CRG has made Star Citizen a lot more stable in 2025. We still have 30Ks, but far less. Recovery after a crash usually works. However, right now on 4.5 Live we have quite a lot of crashes to desktop again. My rating? 5 out of 10. Playability. Playability in year 14 with more than $1 billion in funding is still poor. We have massive interaction delays and things. Not always, of course. You can be lucky, you can play off hours, you can be on a good server shard, but the normal experience is not exactly fantastic. We even have things of players and NPCs moving at player and NPC speeds. Quite often NPCs are teleporting all over a bunker. Freight elevators are again bugged in some locations. The Iron Man movie UI is terrible. Item interaction and inventory system still one of the worst I've ever seen in any game. I hope Squadron 42 has a far better UI, inventory and item interaction system. If not, good night, Chris. We still have overlapping hangars and sounds. Ship elevators still don't work reliably and are slow. Cargo still gets lost on freight elevators. The new 4.5 patch already shows massive signs of degradation. Why don't you have a maintenance restart of servers at least once per week and remove items, ships, racks no one cares about, CRG? Doors are stuck open in contested zones. It's nice to finally have engineering, but there are a lot of bugs and many ships are way too fragile now, etc, etc. My rating for playability right now is a 2 out of 10. Bug fixes. CRG says they have fixed hundreds of bugs in 2025 and I believe them. However, it feels like we got hundreds of new bugs. In addition, old bugs are coming back again and again. My rating for bug fixing is 3 out of 10. Star Citizen. On the Star Citizen side, 2025 saw a number of important pieces come together. We released not one, but 2 star systems in a single year. At first, this sounds good, but Chris, please stop living in your fantasy world. According to your 2016 CitizenCon speech, we were supposed to get new star systems at the beginning of 2018.
There we go. And then finally, 4.0. So this is that'll be the first time we'll go beyond Stanton to other star systems. I'm not going to say how many star systems yet.
Pyro was 7 years too late. And yes, we got nukes, but there isn't much new. Lesky is pretty much the old Lesky, except the outside, and there are no planets in nukes yet. So, I wouldn't celebrate. We released not one, but 2 star systems in a single year, if one of those star systems is 7 years too late and the other one is pretty much empty. Server meshing was a key technology that made all of this possible with the release of 4.0.1 to a live environment on January 28. We moved into a bigger, more performant and stable universe. And while there were a few hiccups with some legacy systems like elevators and air traffic control that were built long before server meshing was conceived, server meshing itself has been working flawlessly since the beginning, a testament to design and execution of the system by our network, backend, engine and gameplay teams. I don't know what to say anymore. Chris, please, stop living in your dream world. Yes, we got the first iteration of server meshing in January 2025, but it's not exactly working well. You cannot say server meshing itself has been working flawlessly when it doesn't come with acceptable interaction delays and acceptable do-things, and we are far away from that. And this sentence is very bad too. There were a few hiccups with some legacy systems like elevators and air traffic control. Chris, those hiccups are still in the game to this day. Your elevators, your freight elevators, your ship elevators, your air traffic control still don't work reliably. Why do you make it sound like this problem is solved? There were. No, there are. Every day it handles tens of thousands of players playing concurrently in shared instances of up to 700 players. For something that simulates everything to a level of detail we do, at a scale we do, in first and third person, this is a truly mind-boggling achievement. Most other multiplayer games top out at between 50 to 100 players in a much more contained space than we allow you to explore in Star Citizen. And the MMOs with high player counts in the same instance don't simulate and render the world to the extent we do. Yeah, Chris, why might this be like this? Think, please think. Maybe simulating every little detail in the world cannot give you acceptable lag, interaction delays and do things. Why do we need to be able to find a cup we threw in the woods 4 weeks earlier? Is this really important for a gameplay experience?
But the proper persistence is I go anywhere, I take my Elroy's cup, I get my coffee at the space station, I take it with me, I get on the spaceship, I fly to a planet, I walk in a forest, I litter, I drop it on the floor in the forest, I get off, I fly away, and then Sean flies to the forest and sees an Elroy cup when he arrives in that area. So,
and I grab it and I sell it.
Yeah, there you go.
But then you come back and you think that there's a bug in the game because it's gone, whereas in reality, Sean took it.
Yeah, so the second stage of the SOCs is the full persistence comes in with what we call the iCache, which basically will save out all the state and position of any item in the game when you move away from it. So if you have to, which is what's happening on the server right now, it streams out like what's there, and right now we're persisting it in the server's memory, but we aren't persisting it back to a cloud database just yet.
Isn't it much more important to have acceptable lags, acceptable interaction delays, and acceptable do things? Again, you make it sound like you have solved everything, Chris, but your game is at times almost unplayable. As multiple servers now manage our vast universe, the individual server performance has greatly increased, creating a much better experience for all of you. Chris, I know you are playing the game together with your daughters. Chris, I know you experience the same do things we all experience, so why do you write things like this? The overall server performance has not greatly increased. We still have so much do things, so much interaction delays. We also shipped more mission content and in-game events than ever before this year. Yes, but most of those missions are boring and repetitive. That included large-scale moments like teaming up to take on an irradiated Apex Valkyrie or coming face-to-face with John Mundy, as well as longer-running storylines that helped add depth and context to the verse. Chris, most people are doing those special missions once or twice and then they don't care anymore, except for those few that really want to grind for Vicolo. In 2025, Star Citizen delivered 11 major patches. I think we had 2 major patches this year. The other patches added just a few things, fixed a few bugs, or were made for events like Invictus. We closed out a year with introduction of engineering in Star Citizen Alpha 4.5. Yes, it's very nice that we have finally engineering, but there are a lot of bugs and it's not exactly a good user experience right now. And once again, the UI was made for looks, but not for functionality. For example, if you want to lock all doors open on your ship, you have to click, you have to zoom a lot. And quite often you have to click more than one time because of interaction delays. In addition, a lot of ships are way too fragile right now, and ships with more than 2 shields are totally screwed. For example, Asgard, Redeemer, Retaliator, etc. Squadron 42. All chapters are now fully playable from beginning to end, and we've been playing through the game ourselves regularly. Okay, I find this very interesting because Tyler Witkin played through all the missions already in 2016.
Leadpipe asks, have you as the community team been able to play through a single mission on Squadron 42 yet? I have been able to, but I have chosen not to.
I have played through every mission because I come from QA and it was my job to do so.
Squadron 42 is a large game, over 40 hours in length. I don't know what kind of games you play, Chris. Maybe you're playing a lot of console games, but 40 hours in length is not a large game. A large game is around 80 to 100 hours. And how many of those 40 hours are spent walking side by side with Mark Hamill, just passively listening to what he says to other actors? How many of those 40 hours are spent watching your cinematic cutscenes? How many of those 40 hours are spent sitting in a turret and shooting at Vendul fighters that are coming straight to you, not even any evasive maneuvers? How many of those 40 hours are spent actually doing something fun and interesting? My guess is way less than 20. Equally important is the quality of the content itself, from writing and performance capture to characters, environments, ships, lighting, sound, cinematics, and designs. The level of care across the entire game is something I'm incredibly proud of. Combined with deeply interactive systems, it creates an experience that pulls you into the world and keeps you there. Yeah, I'm saying this for quite a while now. It looks to me like Squadron 42 is an interactive movie and not a game. You get a very cinematic experience, but there's little depth, little gameplay to be found. Eye on the horizon. Looking ahead to 2026, our focus remains clear. We will continue improving stability and depth in Star Citizen while expanding and connecting core systems that shape how you play, from engineering to inventory, crafting, social tools, and other foundational features, alongside expanding the playable universe itself. Server meshing will become dynamic, allowing the mesh to reconfigure in real time based on player activity and server load. It was always the goal that Star Citizen server meshing will become dynamic, not only static. I'm just not so sure if we are seeing this in 2026. Our goal is to have thousands of players in the same shared universe instance. I like this goal very much, but Chris, you cannot claim you have achieved this like you did in this article, when we still have massive interaction delays and do things. It does not matter how many players are in one server shard if the player experience is very poor. Components of the server meshing systems are also being leveraged to deliver instanced areas and experiences. I am not opposed to instance areas. Back in the days, Dark Age of Camelot did this with instant dungeons and it worked very well. But you cannot instance everything, you cannot instance fights in space. Genesis planets represent our next step in planetary tech, offering breathtaking worlds with significantly improved graphical fidelity and denser, more dynamically assembled biomes. CRG showed us Genesis planets at CitizenCon and they looked very, very beautiful. However, those were pre-rendered videos. I just don't believe you can do this, Chris, with this old and obsolete engine in real time. I hope I am wrong. These planets are driven by the rules of nature and our designers, creating ecosystems that feel alive and authentic. Chris, right now there's very little science in Star Citizen, and most surface temperatures of your planets and moons make no sense. In real life, surface temperature of a planet or moon depends on what kind of star, what is the distance to the star, what is the atmospheric composition of the planet and moon, does it have a lot of greenhouse gases, how dense is the atmosphere, what is the rotation speed of the planet or moon, is it tidally locked or not. But in your game, surface temperature of planets or moons just depend on whatever the dev felt like. There is no rhyme or reason in your game. And I find this very sad. Of course, Star Citizen is a game, it doesn't have to be realistic, but it wouldn't cost you much to be a bit more scientific accurate. We are also upgrading core systems that have been with us for years. As part of our item recovery work, inventory, insurance, and cross-patch persistence are all getting significant improvements, which is really needed because people are still losing things from patch to patch. Persistence in Star Citizen is still very poor. The focus is on making it easier to interact with your belongings while improving the stability and speed of these systems overall. Does this mean we are getting a decent inventory system, a decent item interaction system? Please, Chris, please do it. For Squadron 42, our priority remains quality and polish as we move towards beta and release. We are confident in the direction the game is headed and are fully focused on delivering. We don't plan on a long drawn-out marketing campaign as we've already done our share of trailers and gameplay previews. Chris, you have to realize Squadron 42 is something most players in the world don't know about. Most players only heard about Star Citizen as a game that collected a lot of money, but to this day doesn't have a finished product. So why do you want to release Squadron 42 without a long marketing campaign? It doesn't make sense to me. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Can you make it to the main elevator? Okay, let's try the big elevator.
Not because our physics code is terrible, in fact, it's great.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter or on Blue Sky.